This video is going to be an explanation of the very basics of Ditherboy. This will be the first video in a small series of videos to help you get more predictable results from your dithering. Specifically today, I'm going to talk to you about Ditherboy's signal chain, or basically the order that things happen in. And I've got this image open here, which has just got 3D Ditherboy with some gradients, some gray, pure white, pure black background, and just a spectrum of color here on the right. I'm going to use this image for the future videos, so I might not necessarily use every part of this image today, but yeah, there's a reason everything's here. So to get started talking about the signal chain, like I said, this is just the order that things happen in. So the first thing in the signal chain is your imported image, because all of your adjustments like brightness, contrast, saturation, midtones, and highlights, or the hue wheel and the blur slider, these are all applied to your image before it's ever dithered. And in fact, the dithering algorithm, or the dither effect that you set up, has no idea what these values are in the adjustments section. So in other words, the brightness, contrast, saturation, whatever you set up here has no effect on what the dithering algorithm actually does. It's just affecting the image that the dithering algorithm is reading. So all dithering algorithms work differently, but as you can see on our gradient here on the left, this diffusion dithering algorithm called Sierra uses these snaking patterns of dots and rectangles to fade from white to black, and it is, in other words, producing like an approximation or an estimation of the original gradient using dithering. This means that if you up the brightness all the way at the start of your signal chain before the dithering algorithm knows anything about this, the white pixels aren't going to get any brighter, or the dark pixels in the actual dither don't get brightened. It's just what data the dithering algorithm is actually reading from your image that changes. So I've loaded in every effect now that Ditherboy currently has, and you can see on this right hand side tab bar, the Ditherboy cat head is the second in the list. The reason for that is the signal chain goes based on the order of these icons. So this icon here at the bottom of the list is temporal variation. This will always apply before your dither, because if we disable the dither now, you can see that temporal variation is just applying different patterns and overlays to the original image, which animate when you press play, which again are not actually changing the dithering algorithm. They are just changing what the dithering algorithm picks up. From here, anything that you add that comes after the dithering tab, this is going to be applied to the dither output. So if we tint this red, you can see the pixels don't change. There's no change at all in how this dither has actually come together. If I lower the scale, you can see it a little bit better. The pixels aren't changing. The dither is staying exactly the same, no matter what color I tint it or whether I tint it or not. Whereas if I go into the dithering algorithm and ask it to dither in red, the pixels will move. If I toggle on the epsilon glow effect, and if you just have a look at what is actually happening when you add a glow to a pixel or to a shape, you've got a white pixel sat wherever it's being picked up by the glow, and now on the outskirts of the white pixel there is a fade out to whatever is in the background from white. And if we disable the dither and the glow and our temporal variation, you can see that when there is a fade out from white, like in this gradient on the left, glow doesn't translate. The glow will just get picked up by the dither and distributed as pixels, so you won't be able to tell it was glowing if you were to apply the epsilon glow before the dithering algorithm, which is why we actually stop you from doing that. So if I now go and toggle on all of these effects and just have a look here below the settings cog, you can actually see your signal chain. So it goes temporal variation, that gets applied to your image. Then you've got your adjustments, which is brightness, contrast, saturation, and the sliders that you have access to inside the dithering panel. Then the dither happens, and then you've got post-processing, tint, epsilon glow, glitch effects, or the chromatic aberration. Obviously, we're still working on Ditherboy, so in the future when more effects are added, if you pay attention to whether they are a pre-dither effect or a post-dither effect, you can understand a little bit better how they're going to interact with your image, whether they're going to just influence the post-dither or whether they're going to actually get picked up by the dithering algorithm itself. But for working with the primary control that you have over the dithering algorithm, which is these adjustments, it's good to remember that generally speaking, the brighter an image is, or the brighter a section of an image is, the more dense or the more tightly packed dithering you will get, which is illustrated in this example, where the end of our white gradient has very tightly packed white pixels with only some gaps for black, and then the dark end of our black to white gradient has basically no white pixels beyond a certain point, but before it they are very spread out in comparison to the midtones, which get some nice like smooth patterning and sort of checkerboard effect. Once you understand that, you can use the contrast sliders and the midtone controls and all this stuff to just get more of what you want out of this. And actually these controls are going to work the same if you're working with other effects and other software that depend highly on luminance like dithering does. Anything you see that's got like a threshold slider, having like an understanding of the signal chain and how bright areas are treated versus dark areas versus midtones. If you understand this stuff, it's going to be much easier to sort of just get what you want out of effects that you work with as a designer, which is also the reason we just leave these names as brightness and contrast and stuff rather than like calling it density or, you know, trying to give it a more descriptive name. So this is just a really quick video explaining exactly what order things go in on Ditherboy. If you want something more complex, the channel is full of that stuff, and I'm going to do some more equally simple videos. So if this was helpful for you, or if this is like a good refresher if you're coming back to Ditherboy after a while, then definitely let me know if there's anything else you want to see. If you do want to help getting started with Ditherboy, then you can always go to studioAAA.com and just click on the community tab on the menu at the top, and you can download like my presets, or you can see other tutorials, or you can download color palettes and that kind of thing. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.